atonement for himself and for his house.
Go ahead.
And he shall take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats.
Go ahead.
1 lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat.
So now he said 1 lot for the Lord and another lot for the scapegoat. You know what scapegoat mean, right? That means, we say it all the time, you know, I ain't going to be no scapegoat now. You know, in other words, I'm not going to take the blame for something that somebody else did. So now 1 lot was for the Lord, 1 goat was for the Lord, and the other goat was for the scapegoat. Go ahead. Keep that in mind. Go ahead and read on.
And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord's lot fell, and offer him for a sin offering.
Now, he said 1 goat had to be offered for a sin offering, and I'm going to put this on the board, and there's a reason that I'm putting this on the board, because some people, they teach this, and they said that one of these goats represents Jesus, and the other goat represents Satan. But we're going to find out both of these goats represent Jesus.
That's right.
Go ahead, continue reading.
10.
Go ahead.
But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make an atonement with him and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness.
So now you had 1 goat was for the sin offering, then you had another goat that was for the atonement. And when somebody tell me that one of these goats represents Satan, I said, now which one is it? Is he a sin offering or is he a atonement?
That's right.
We're going to find out Satan ain't neither.
That's right.
Because both of these goats represent Jesus here. Now, read that verse again that you just read.
10.
Go ahead.
But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make an atonement with him and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness.
So now, you needed a dead goat and you needed a live goat, didn't you?
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because all these goats is pointing to Jesus. They are pointing to when he was going to come and die for the sins of the people, and we are going to show you that. Now, skip down to verse 20 and continue reading. Go ahead and read it.
And when he hath made an end of reconciling the holy place, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. And Aaron shall lay both hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel, and all their transgressions and all their sins, putting them upon the head of the goat, and shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness.
So now, you had all of the sins of the people. All of the sins. That should tell you something right there.
That's right.
All of the sins of all of the people. Laid up on the head of this live goat. All of the sins, all of the people laid up on the head of this live goat.
That's right.
Now, read that next verse.
22.
Go ahead and read.
And the goat shall bear upon him all their iniquities unto a land not inhabited.
Go ahead.
And he shall let go the goat into the wilderness.
Now, let's go over to Colossians chapter 2, and we'll begin reading at verse 13. Colossians 2, and we'll pick it up at verse 13. 2 and 13. 2 and 13. Because what we have been looking at the type, but we're going to get to the reality. We're on our way to the reality. Because this was far bigger than killing some goats.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because the book tells you the blood of bulls and goats couldn't take away sin anyway. But it was preparing you for what was to come. Let's go now to Colossians chapter 2 and begin at verse 13. 2 and 13. Okay, go ahead and read.
And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses.
Go ahead.
Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross.
So now he said, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that were against us, took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. People read this, they say this is talking about God's moral law. Jesus did not nail the moral law to the cross. Right. He did not nail the high days to the cross. Right. This is animal sacrifice law that he is talking about here. We're going to show you that a little bit later. So now he said, took it out of the way and nailed it to the cross. Because it said it was against you. And I never understood how you can say, thou shalt not steal, and thou shalt not commit adultery, and thou shalt not kill is against you. How is that against you? But it was the animal sacrifice law that was against you, because the book said the blood of bulls and goats couldn't take away sin. If it couldn't take away sin, therefore it couldn't take away death, right? Because we read earlier that the wages of sin is death. So if it couldn't take away sin, it couldn't take away death, therefore it was against you. Go ahead and read on.
Having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it.
Go ahead.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath day, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ.
See what it is? These things are shadows of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So that, what we are dealing with is, killing all them animals, that was a shadow of the real thing. But it was really all about Jesus. That's what it was all about. That's what every one of these holidays was about. Like the Passover, when they killed the four-legged lamb, that was about the time that Jesus would come and die on the Passover day as our Passover lamb. It was all about Jesus. That's what it's about. Right. Now, these things that we are dealing with the animals, that is shadows of the real thing. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 53 now. And we're going to pick it up at verse 3. Isaiah 53, and we'll begin at verse 3. 53 and 3. and 3. Getting back to these goats here that they killed on the Day of Atonement. They killed one, and one was left alive and had all of the sins of the people laid up on him, right? Let's go to Isaiah 53 and verse 3. It's Jesus that we're reading about here, and it's really dealing with his crucifixion. Go ahead and read. 53 and 3. Go ahead.
He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief.
Go ahead.
And we hid, as it were, our faces from him, and he was despised, and we esteemed him not.
And he's still despised and rejected of men. The real one is, they embraced that one from Rome. But the real one, he is still despised and rejected of men. Right. And the reason I know is, when you give them the real one, I guarantee you they're going to reject him every time. You can give him his name, but if you give him his doctrine, I guarantee you they're going to reject it. Every time they're going to reject it. Go ahead and read on.
Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows.
Go ahead.
Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions.
Go ahead.
He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed.
Go ahead and read.
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. And the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
The Lord have done what? He have laid on him the iniquity of us all, right? Well, that's what happened with one of these goats, right? Didn't that live goat have all of the sins of the people laid on him? Because that live goat, that was pointing to a live Jesus. But we're going to find out that you needed a live Jesus, and you needed a dead Jesus too. And remember, one of them goats was called a sin offering, right? Go ahead and read some more.
7.
Go ahead.
He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth.
Go ahead.
He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shears is dumb, so he opened not his mouth.
Go ahead.
He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
Oh, wait a minute. So he didn't die for himself then, right? He died for somebody else,
That's
right? In other words, he took the blame for somebody else did, right?
That's right.
That's what a scapegoat is, right? A scapegoat is somebody that takes the blame for something that somebody else did. And that's what happened with Jesus. Jesus ain't sin. He didn't commit no sin, but he took the blame for our sin.
That's right.
Go ahead and read a little bit more.
Verse 9.
Go ahead and read.
And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death.
Go ahead.
Because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth.
Go ahead.
Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief.
Go ahead.
When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin.
When thou shalt make his soul an offering for what? A sin. In other words, he will become a sin offering. Remember, one goat was the sin offering, right? So now, who is the sin offering? It is Jesus. Who had all of the sins of the people laid up on them? Jesus had all of the sins of the people laid up on them. So that is what that goat was pointing to. Let's go now to Let's go look at it again. Let's go to 2 Corinthians, brother, chapter 5, and we'll